You know what? I'm just going to write a letter of apology to all the people who watched the Powerpuff Girls special. This is from Cartoon Network. I'm doing it on their behalf because they won't do it themselves. So hold on a sec. Okay, yes, that's for you, and I want you to have that. And yeah, I'm sorry we can't give you your life back. Okay, so that was a bit harsh, but that's what I mostly felt when I watched this. So this is just a part 2 to my first video that I did called the new Powerpuff Girls when I talked a little bit in depth about what the special was going to be like. I thought it was going to suck, or hell, it could have surprised me, could have been good, and I could have really liked it, or I could have really hated it. But the fact of the matter is, for my real opinion, it was mostly like, meh. I mean, I watched it, and after I watched it, I was just like, okay, I watched it. Should I make my video now? The reason why I waited till this time to Friday to do it is because not only is this my deadline date, but also I wanted to make sure that everybody saw it first before people actually started, you know, checking out videos of it and stuff like that. And to be perfectly honest with this episode, the special, I thought it was funny. It kind of what the fuck. And I did not, I'm gonna say it, I did not like the animation choice that they went with. I know it was kind of like CGI cardboard boxes, South Parkish. Like I said in my first video, I was like, it kind of reminds me of South Park a little bit, but whereas South Park, you know, at first I didn't like it for South Park, and then, you know, it kind of grew on me. I kind of liked it. I'm gonna say with this show, I kind of like the old animation better. Yeah, we're not gonna go back to that. We're gonna say with the new animation way of doing it. Also, some of the stuff in the special seemed kind of outdated, but we'll get to that in a second. So, okay, after I watched the special, like I said, my reaction was more just, eh. You know, I mean, I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was good neither. It was mildly entertaining. It was just okay, and there's not much else to say about that. Okay, so let me talk about the stuff that I did like, because there actually was a few things in here that I did like. Number one, the freaking pants, their robot looking selves, that was fucking cool. Okay, regardless of the animation or whatever, that looked fucking badass on them. I love that. What I didn't too much care for was I think once it got to the middle part, the beginning I thought was actually pretty funny. There's actually some good jokes in there in the beginning. Also, the Powerpuff Girls can survive being thrown through the freaking center of the earth. What the fuck that was about? But I mean, there is actually this one joke that they do where they're fighting this giant robot monster thing, and Blossom goes first. She obviously gets her ass kicked. It's pretty funny. And Buttercup's like, well, looks like it's time for a real girl to handle this job. And Bubbles is like, so why didn't you send me? I don't know. I thought that was funny. And I mean, just messing with Buttercup's attitude of being like a tomboy and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty funny. Also, when Bubbles actually ends up attacking the monster, she gets hit, but she lands on like this the world's largest pillow. And the other girl is actually going, like Buttercup going through the earth, and Blossom's being knocked through buildings. They're looking at her and they're like, what? That's not fair. It is like if you actually go back and look at the old series, some of the stuff with Bubbles, you know, like later on she starts getting beat up, but like she doesn't really take most of the damage as the other girls do, especially Buttercup. So I thought that was pretty neat. There was another really good joke that had me dying. It was the one where they actually get this game called it's basically Dance Dance Revolution, but they call it Dance Pants Revolution. I mean, the episode has the word pants in it, might as well. So, this actually is connection to the episode. to the name of the episode. So they get this game, they play it, and Blossom and Buttercup kind of suck at it while Bubbles is a total badass at it. And it's basically Dance Dance Revolution just with using pants, but somehow on the screen it shows people moving their arms and stuff like that. Okay, but anyway, they get a call from the mayor of Townsville, and he says, oh, you need to come, it's an emergency, I need all three of you. And so they go, only Blossom and Buttercup ends up going, and Bubbles is still sitting there, she's playing the game on what seems to be a Wii. Like, really, guys? Come on. Number one, Dance Dance Revolution, then the Wii. You're just way outdated there. That's the outdated part I was talking about the show. It's just kind of way outdated. Also with the cultural references, the whole Soul Train spoof that you did, Soul Train rail, what do you call it, a haystack ride or something like that. What? Like, really? Well, I mean, you know, it existed. Might as well make cultural references. Regular show makes cultural references. Why don't we do it too? Yes, you know, because other shows are doing it, we should do it too. And I was actually afraid of this because I knew that because the Powerpuff Girls, you know, at the time it was made, it was, for the most part, it was pretty creative. I thought it was a pretty creative show. And it's pretty standard. It's pretty simple, but they never relied on I mean, they did do cultural references, like, you know, every once in a while. They even made a South Park reference once, which at the time, you knew, kids that was watching the Powerpuff Girls, you knew you was watching South Park at the same time. You had to sneak, but you knew. And even though it would make those little references here or there, or they will mostly do it to other Cartoon Network shows. I think there was one time when Dexter actually appeared just for a brief cameo. And you know, all that stuff is really good and really interesting. But they never relied on it for like every single episode. Yes, there would be some like throwbacks to Godzilla, like the part when they went to Chinatown, I think. And it was kind of like playing on the whole Godzilla Attacks Tokyo thing, which was pretty interesting. I actually liked that episode. I mean, that stuff is fine. That stuff, referencing that stuff is fine. But it was also its own thing, just like with its villains, which was, like, I mean, come on, Sedusa? You know, when I get older, I finally know what it means. As a kid, I was like, Sedusa, you know, I never used to get that. I would say, you know, her hair was kind of like, you know, Medusa's kind of like the snakes and stuff like that, but Sedusa. As I got older, I started to realize, I'm like, that's an innuendo. And that is really funny. That is very funny. It'd be weird because, you know, a lot of girls used to watch the show, and one time when I was a kid, I was actually watching it, and my mother, she walks in, and she used to watch the show too. She used to watch like a lot of those old 90s cartoons. And she actually walks in and she hears the woman's voice, or she hears them say her name, Sedusa, and she just starts laughing. And I didn't get it. And she was like, you'll get it when you're older. And now after, you know, watching the show later on as I got older, it's really funny. And they had a lot of innuendos in that show. I'm sure there's videos on YouTube of clippings of most of them in the entire series, and they're really funny, and it was really clever. And nowadays, I know when they was going to do this, it was going to be a lot more cultural references, you know, a lot of things to make it sound hip and new and all that stuff. And even that they try to do is kind of outdated. Even crumping and all that stuff, is that even still a dance? I guess people still do that. I don't dance. I don't know. I think some of the stuff that they did was kind of outdated, but still trying to reflect of modern day times. And I knew there was going to be a lot of those references in there, and I was scared for that, because a show that can actually not go on cultural references seems to be more creative and more interesting to me than a show that does it all the time. Unless it's South Park, because South Park can get away with saying that, but they do have their own creative thing. Going back, so they buy this game, Dance Dance Revolution, they play it, and Blossom and Buttercup ends up leaving, going to the mayor's office, and they ask him what's the problem. He's too short to reach the pickle jar that's on the bookshelf. And it's pretty funny because normally, you know, the Powerpuff Girls would just, I think a situation like this happened before in one of the episodes. They would just go fly up, grab the jar, just open it and give it to him. But in this, they try to do something extraordinary, over the top, extravagant. They're like, okay, we have to do our three Powerpuff Girls combination. Yeah, let's do it. And so they do it, but there's no bubbles. And because there's no bubbles, they can't do it. So Buttercup gets mad and she like goes to find bubbles, and Blossom's like, oh, she must be still playing that game. And so Blossom's like, I'm sorry, Mayor, we can't get your pickle jar. And he says, he's like, what do you mean? It's like right there. You're floating right there next to it. She's like, I'm sorry, we just can't get the pickle jar. And that's a really funny joke. That's funny. Why couldn't the episode keep that flow? The jokes he was actually throwing out in the first half was funny. And this is 30 minutes long. I know they're not going to do like both be like 12-minute sections or something like that as the old show used to do. Because even shows that used to have 2 episodes at a time eventually go down the 1 episode route. I mean, it happens with even shows like today, like Adventure Time, a regular show I keep referring to. I'm sorry about that. But those are like the only good shows on Cartoon Network I watch. So those are the only shows I know. But so this is like a 30-minute special. So the first 15 minutes or so, you're doing really good. It kept my attention. It was pretty funny. Actually, how Mojo Jojo, who was great, by the way. Love how you got these voice actors back together to do this. I know they haven't done it since, I think the last special was in 2008. Just bring the series back, man. If you want to just bring the series back, I'm sure you guys can do well. I guess Craig McCracken is not going to be messing with it anymore. Probably not. I don't know why those are his creations. And with me, with the original show, I think like after the first 4 seasons, this is when Craig stops directing it. I think after the first 4 seasons, the writing sort of went downhill. It wasn't bad or as bad as this special, but it like had its own flow to it. Whereas the first season, the first 4 seasons, I was like really interested, really invested. I wanted to see what was the next episode. Later on, I don't know, probably because I got older or something, or I just didn't think the writing was strong enough, and it would be like hit and 2 misses like that. And out of the whole 13 episodes of the season, it'd be like there's only be like 6 that I really like out of the whole 13. And so that, you know, that leaves just 7 to say like, oh, they was pretty much misses, and that's how the later season, you know, went to be. Then like on the next one, it was like there's only 5 episodes out of the 13 episodes of the season I like. Once they get to the part where they start being controlled by Mojo Jojo, that's when the plot holes hit. And as a guy who's seen everything of the Powerpuff Girls, I have to say the biggest problem with this is Mojo Jojo's plan. And the first part, you think that, you know, he's just trying to do this just to destroy them, or he's trying to do this just to get Chemical X until his real plan is revealed, which is completely stupid, which at first, I thought it was funny. Now when I see it again, I'm just like, that's just stupid, just for being stupid. But the plan to just destroy the Powerpuff Girls, or why did he just destroy them when he had control over them? If he hates them so much, why didn't he just destroy them? If he had control over them, which it's a stupid way because he pretends like there's a sequel or there's a number 2 to the Dance Pants Revolution game, and he basically, which is pretty funny, he takes some sticky notes and he just takes a marker and he just write it out. He just blocks out some things. It's called Dance Pants Evil Revolution, Evolution. And you think with the word evil in it, like the Powerpuff Girls wouldn't mess with it, but whatever. Bubbles is naive, so that's great seeing that character again. And so they all get under control of this machine, which are using pants that transforms them into like this robotic breakdancing crazy lunatics, which was actually pretty funny. But then like towards the end, when they started having to dance off and stuff with Professor Utonium and everything, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, they're trying a little bit too hard to try to make this hip. And now from that, like I said, the plot holes really got me. And the one is where they talk about Professor Utonian background for a little bit, how he comes to Townsville for the first time, which I could have sworn he was already a kid in Townsville, going from the old series, okay? I know this is probably supposed to take place after the Powerpuff Girls special that came out in 2008, but what was you thinking with just saying, oh, we have a new citizen of Townsville? No, the professor's been living there the whole time. Oh, because he couldn't become a professional dancer, he decides to go be a scientist. No, he decided that a long time ago, and it wasn't just like on the spot. You can't become a scientist like right on the spot. But whatever. I mean, you even showed the episode in the Powerpuff Girls marathon why he even decided to make them in the first place. And I'm sure anybody who's a fan of the Powerpuff Girls must have seen that episode. Some of the side characters was pretty funny. Some of the new characters they introduced, like the singer who was a mathematician, played by what was his name, Ringo Starr, which is pretty funny. In which they made references to him too in the old series. References to the Beatles, and seeing him in here and the singer and the little gopher or muskrat or whatever the hell it was. I don't know. I actually thought that was pretty funny. For the little bit of time that they got shown, especially the part when the professor finds out that the girls kidnapped them. They kidnapped them, and the professor finds out, and he's like, oh my god! And he's like, and he goes and he tells the mayor, Miss Bellum, that, hey, you know, they've been captured. The girls have been capturing, you know, these people and stuff like that. And they're like, well, at least you set them, and the mayor's like, well, at least you set them free. And he has like a little flashback of him just leaving the room, and they're still captive. That was funny. Okay, that was like one part of the second half that was really funny to me. So, you know, I wish the special kept that tone of funniness, and it actually did not have, you know, the Powerpuff Girls was always, you know, a lot of fighting in it, and it was pretty violent for a show that was aiming towards girls, and there's not a lot of violence in this. It's mostly just like cultural references and trying to throw out more jokes than action, and most of the jokes are missed. Besides about like 4 of them, I didn't really care about the rest of them. So overall, I think that they tried with the series, but they probably, oh, I keep saying series, not the whole series in general. With this, they tried with this special, but I see the effort there, I do, but it just didn't click with me, so to speak. I really didn't say, oh, you know, I want to see this again and again. Of course, to review it, I had to see it. I wanted to see it again, but at the time, you know, it's like this isn't something. This was sort of like we just faded into memory, so to speak. I rather remember the old show rather than remember the special, to be honest. But is it going to be part of my Powerpuff Girls collection? Most likely, yeah, because it is. It is the Powerpuff Girls, and they did get the actors back together, and I do admire that. I admire the what they went through to make this. But like I said, if you want to bring the show back, just bring the show back. And then put some more effort into it. The story, it felt a little weak to me. Even the ending, which was supposed to be funny, like I said, I thought it was funny at first, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's just really stupid. It's sort of like a cop-out ending. But also, the villains. Why just Mojo Jojo? I know he's supposed to be like the most noticeable villain. I mean, he was even in the fucking movie. But at least it's been so long since they've been on television, since 2008. At least make one reference to another villain there. Mojo Jojo doesn't have to be the center of everything. It's the same thing with the Batman comics and video games and stuff like that. The Joker, he is a great character. A fantastic character. Probably the best Batman villain of all time. But that doesn't mean he has to be the center of focus. He could just be a side villain for once. I mean, even if he survives to the end, you know, keep him as that side villain could be interesting. I mean, if only Arkham Origins did that. the point is that Mojo Jojo doesn't have to be in everything related to the Powerpuff Girls. I mean, you made the special after all this time. Even in the last special, I think he was in, after all that time that the Girls was off the air once again. You put Mojo Jojo as the center once again. I mean, it's okay to have him as the main villain, but at least throw somebody else in there, mix it up a little bit. And that's why I say this was pretty standard, because they had a lot of villains to work with. There's a lot of characters in this show. You could have brought anybody else in there, even if it was just for, like, you know, a small cameo or something. Nothing to the original, throwback to the original series, except for, you know, just the voice actors. And people can say, look, you can look at this as like an alternate world, or like some type of alternate universe of the regular Powerpuff Girls that we know. And even then, I still don't really think it's that well. Okay, I can look at it like an alternate universe, but that doesn't mean I'm going to like it. And for the most part, I thought this was just okay. It could have been better. And I'm probably going to forget about this in like a month. Yeah, the episode's pretty forgettable. So, am I glad I saw it? Yeah, because, like I said, I do love the Powerpuff Girls and stuff like that. I even got in arguments with people saying that they're the greatest superheroes ever, and, you know, I was just trolling them. But, I was just joking around. But, you know, you could have done a lot more. I thought this was, this was just pretty weak, because you just chalk it up to cultural references just to make it hip. Anyway, yeah, so that's my little review on this special, and it's not little. I'm sure this is pretty long. I apologize if it is. But, yeah, I will link you to the first part in the description box below. But, to be honest, if you're a fan of the Powerpuff Girls, I know you've probably seen the special already. If you think this is like an introduction into the series, watch the original first. Don't even watch this at all. Personally, I probably won't watch this again. I probably will forget about it. So, yeah, that's it. I'm just going to end it here, because what is Cartoon Network doing? I don't know. Alright, I'm done. I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.